Welcome to the Gray Area. The Gray Area Media. We've obligated ourselves to be the voice for all communities, speaking on topics that include community, religion, education, politics, technology, sports, health, and wellness. The Gray Area Media is a platform created by longtime friends for the sole purpose of providing our communities with the ability to voice current, past, and modern-day issues. The Gray Area, in its naming significance, solely speaks to the area in which people shy away from speaking because of media-based constraints or contractual-based obligations. Well, I'm here to tell you, we don't do that here. So please, stay tuned in. We're going to go live in a few minutes. Don't forget, please add us as a friend on Facebook so that you can follow our live feed. And not only that, please add us on Twitter and Instagram at The Gray Area Media. Please visit our website at www.thegrayareamedialive.com. Thank you. Hello, viewers. We are live right now, and this is The Gray Area on Facebook. This is your boy, Ray E.
This is your boy, P. Wills.
We have some very special guests in the building for you guys today. We have the cast here ready to speak with you guys about its significance, you know, how and why it was written. You know, so many different things, and what better than to do it in the time that's needed for today. So we have Robert Brown. How you doing, Rob?
Hi, everyone.
So you share the mic.
All right.
There you go. How you doing, Rob?
Hey, man, I'm doing well.
You doing well?
Good to be here.
Yes, sir. Good to have you. Good to have you. Dina Toller.
Hi.
How you doing, Dina?
I'm great. How are you doing?
Great.
That's
Joshua T. Owens.
Yes, sir. How you doing?
And Eli Curry.
Hey, what's up, everybody? How you doing?
Very right. Hey, what's up, everybody? How you doing?
Yeah. Anytime you got
Let's talk about that trade, though, man, real quick.
Let's try that
Yeah, man,
again.
touch on that trade real quick, man.
That
What you
trade,
think?
Oh my goodness.
Hey, man, just real quick, man. What you think?
I'm all mixed up right now. I don't know what to say.
We gonna get back to the
Okay,
trade.
yeah.
We gonna get back to the
Got you all
trade.
in your feelings.
Black trades
But
matter.
what's yeah?
I hear you, man.
Man, look, he got them all. He got them all.
Sorry.
There
You
go.
got 'em all.
can, share that one.
No, that's a good one. You got to pocket that one.
See, okay, good. I'm
Black trades
trademarking that
matter.
one.
Yeah, man.
Somebody in China got it on shirt already.
I know, right?
It's probably already on the shirt.
Already, huh?
So this play, Black Lives Matter 2.
Let's get to it.
What happened? Explain to us how this came about. Robert, could you give us a
Please do. Please do.
Yeah. Well,
a quick synopsis?
I'll take the place. Actually, it began. My wife, Angela Jackson
should be
Brown.
on here.
So I'll give her a plug. You can go to her website, www.angelajacksonbrown, as well as our entertainment company, jacksonbrownentertainment.com, too, as well.
Okay.
She's a writer, poet, playwright. Just a professor of creative writing there at Ball State University. And this started off with being, I think the first time that I became aware of it, she wrote the piece, the situation is stabilized,
Okay.
which is one of the pieces in the play.
Okay.
And she had a student, a graduate student, Asia Thomas, and really felt a connection with her, and they started collaborating together to put this piece together.
Okay.
And so it's a series of poems and short pieces, excerpts from a potential ongoing play, and then we approached Dina with the project. We had met Dina. We first saw her in Doubt, right, in Carmel, which she was just phenomenal. Just stole the show for us, and we knew right then that we wanted to work with her. And at the time, we were getting ready to do It Is Well, which is a 2-act stage play that we put on, and she played Carlethia in that, one of the principal characters, and was just incredible. And we started working together and getting involved with Onyx Fest for the Indie Fringe
Okay.
this year, and asked Dina just to take over. Angela was actually directing a piece by Majisa Holiday, And then Dina put together the cast, did the casting call, and just ended up with something quite amazing. You know, it's really, you work with these events and you have something in your mind and you start putting it together and you see how it goes and then you give it away.
Right.
And then the collaborative spirit that happened here is quite unique. I mean, we've seen it now, and Angela and I were talking about this on our way home last night. This is, I think, the 9th time that we've seen this cast work on this play, and their chemistry keeps growing and keeps growing and building and making it just a phenomenal piece. And like you said, I think today, I mean, it was timely 20 years ago, it was timely 10 years ago, it was timely 5 years ago, it was timely yesterday, it's going to be timely tomorrow. And unfortunately, it's probably going to be timely still in a few years from now, because we're just so tied with where we are.
Right.
And these young cats here, man, they hopefully they can do the intro. Maybe I can get them to do the intro piece, give y'all a flavor of what the piece is about.
Absolutely. I mean, and speaking of the times that we are in today, I mean, there's so much tension, so many things, and people have the wrong idea of what Black Lives Matter is. You know, I feel like people are becoming victimized, you know, themselves, feeling like, oh, well, my life don't matter because, you know, they're only focusing on Black Lives Matter. So you know, it's almost like it's a common sense thing, right? You know, if someone has cancer, you don't say, you know, you know what I'm saying?
We
you know what I'm getting at?
one of our scenes in one of our excerpts actually deals with that in
Right.
quite a interesting manner. So,
Right. You know, it's nobody's saying cancer doesn't matter.
That's what I'm saying, though. Do they really think that, or is that just an excuse?
Right.
You know what I mean? Because you said it's common sense.
Right.
And this is the only, you know, movement, group, charity, or whatever that's trying to do uplifting thing that has been so criminalized. You know, all of a sudden it's a militia. You know, you know what I mean? That has nothing to do. That's why I like the fact that this says two.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And I love the fact that theater is a safe space.
Right.
And so when you say two, we're hoping that it's inclusive.
Absolutely.
To make everybody, because what we say to you is brutal, honest truth.
Right.
But we're in theater, so it's okay.
Do you think that one word "two" should have been added to the true Black Lives Matter?
No.
Because
Two
it's
is-
almost like
two is for
as
everybody
common
else.
sense as it is, it's almost like that word matters. You know what I'm saying?
Almost,
Like
yeah,
it's almost like, oh, now I get it. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
what you guys meant.
I think
I mean, it's a qualifier, but that's why I don't think it needs to be on
Right.
the original.
Right.
You know,
Right.
that's you know,
It's just more
the
about
arts
understanding.
have always fueled the revolution. So if we do something and add a little word "two" on it to
Right.
make everybody kind of see the light, or you know what I mean,
Right.
start paying attention and think it's something else.
I
Right.
think the strength of it comes from the fact that it is a simple statement. If you just say Black Lives Matter and don't offer any more conversation,
Right.
it brings out emotion in people. That's why people are starting to describe Black Lives Matter as a hate group. That's why people are starting to feel this type of strong emotion, because
Right.
if people have a way to get around something, they will. Right? Like you think about a fire, it takes the path of least resistance. For a long time, people were just willing to not say anything about anything, not speak on topics, not have any opinions about things. But
Take over.
a statement like that, you know,
Sure.
something that is just
That's my end.
Okay.
straight up and down,
going.
Black Lives Matter, and you don't get to dance around it. You either have to say, yes, I agree, or no, I disagree.
Right.
That's where you see people try to drag both sides down to the bottom and say
Right,
both sides of things. Or, these people are also as bad, because if somebody just had to say, man, I don't think Black Lives Matter, like
Right.
all of a sudden
Right.
they wouldn't feel comfortable going to get their Jordans, and now they got to figure out how they're going to go about existing in their social media, and it's not easy.
Yeah, but you know, here's my thing, man, regarding Black Lives Matter. Sorry, is when you think about it, man, you know, they label it as a hate group when it really isn't. It's more of empowerment, and you know, just wanting the world to, you know, recognize the importance of Black lives.
Correct.
In a simple sense, right?
Yes.
But
It's just the fact that we have to even say it. Like
Exactly.
nobody is understanding that it's just a recognition of our existence. Like at the basic core, of what it is to be matter.
Exactly.
You
But
know?
why do you think that is, though? That
Like, really?
yeah,
Why do I think that?
that that we have to explain ourselves why Black Lives Matter.
Because the majority, or I won't say majority,
Okay.
there are several people that are in America and all over the globe
Okay.
that do not think black people are worthy.
Mm.
Yeah, and also
We'll
I
touch on
think,
that.
yes, also
Okay.
I think it's also in the fact of if you don't say anything about a situation, it's going to constantly happen or get worse.
Okay.
So the more that you just sit there and tolerate for things,
Mm.
the worst thing that they can do could be the possible turn into just a normal thing. So them constantly doing a thing over and over can be turned into something worse, and we just adapting to that, and I refuse.
We'll
to
turn that
adapt to
volume down. Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
yeah, it's a refusal to adapt to a situation like that. So we're just asking, like, see our situation, see what's going on, and understand like our pain, what we're seeing and going through.
yeah. I mean, you want to touch on that?
Yeah, the bystander effect is so strong with people who can choose not to be involved in a situation. It's really the simplest explanation of privilege is to look at a situation that people's lives or their livelihoods are in danger and decide whether or not you even want to have an opinion on the matter. Because when you are the one looking down the barrel of a gun, you don't get to decide whether or not you care.
Right.
You know, if you don't care in that effort, everybody just looks at you like you're a suicidal fool.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And I think one of the main things that a lot of people who will call themselves centrist or who think that they're, trying to be fair or moderate or whatever is that they don't realize that from the perspective of black people in America, and even from the perspective of a lot of the groups, a lot of the hate groups and the white nationalists, both sides in that essence feel like they're staring down the barrel of a gun. Now, of course, me as a black man, I'm sitting there like, my grandma was born in Indianapolis. My great aunt was one of the first female police officers in the city. I'm as American as it gets. Like, now I wear this hat just so people remember because they'll get confused and think about where I'm here. And I'm a Hoosier through and through. So I sit here and try to look at it like, man, I'm staring down the barrel of a gun. I'm not holding one at nobody. But it's confusing for people who feel challenged by simple facts. If I say I'm as American gets and I don't look a thing like you, and then you turn around and look at my culture, which is black culture, which is very thoroughly not white culture, right?
Okay.
That is a challenge to people, and a lot of people don't know what to do about it, and they feel torn up because everybody wants to belong to something,
Yeah. I mean, you're right. Now, do y'all think that, given the history between blacks and whites, in this country, that there's always some type of method to make us feel inferior? So whenever there's a movement, man, that goes on, it's like, okay, Black Lives Matter. No, all lives matter.
Yes.
I mean, what is your take on that? Like, because, it just seems like whenever blacks try to unite or do something for each other, someone says, no, all lives matter, or they try to suppress that movement.
Yes, make us deal with it. That's what I feel like they try to
Yeah.
make us do. Like,
It's systematic. I mean, that's just how it's been set
Yeah.
up. It's a mind frame and a mindset that, I mean, that it is the example of white privilege that you can even say that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's just, that's the point of why we have to say it.
Exactly. Because I've had people, some of my white friends would say, yeah, Pat, that did not happen to you in the past, or what is going on now does not have a direct effect on you, but it does.
Right? How does it not?
I mean, it does. So, and I always say this whenever I'm told that, when they say, well, that doesn't, the things that have happened or are going on does not really directly affect you. I'm like, okay, so if your great grandfather built a fortune back then, right, and it was passed down from generation to generation, then it hits you, should you take that fortune?
oh yeah, hey, that's bloodline. I gotta have that.
Why though? But you didn't build it,
Man, not at all.
but you reap the benefits, right?
Right.
Same thing.
Yeah, most definitely.
I think you
He
touched
trying to make me
on.
not agree with it.
I'll put my look. I get it, right? I mean,
Speak on it, Rob B.
I've been so wonderfully touched by, my wife's work for sure, but I have a picture, my favorite Facebook picture, and it's of our cast and crew, and it's almost like I'm photobombing this group of just beautifully talented, honest, truthful, soulful people. And,
Sure.
you know, and I tell my wife, you know, I grew up in Arlington, Texas, actually outside of Webb, Texas. Oh man, I didn't know black folks existed until I was 12. I think that when you look at the most subversive way that you see white privilege manifested, it's that I never had the discussion around my table.
Yeah.
Nobody ever told me your life is different.
Right.
And when I married my wife and she brought her son to the relationship. He was 10, my boy is 11. And I'm aware that I'm having distinctly different conversations
Right.
with both of them about the reality. And to touch on your point, that whole thing about history, and this is where we get so skewed, is that in essence what we're talking about is our history and resolving 144 years of chattel slavery. You know, and for a lot of people that sit in their Methodist church in small town America, rural Indiana, you know, white Indiana, which is what it is. I mean, when my wife leaves Eaton, where we live at, the African American population diminishes by 50%.
Right.
So there's only 2 black folks in the whole town.
Right.
So in the churches and the pulpits, all of these places, is that it is the unawareness that what we're battling, what we continue to battle, is our combined history. We justify, we go, oh well, the Egyptians were, or the Jews were enslaved by the Egyptians. Totally different system
Right.
altogether.
Right.
We were doing some research for a book that Angela is writing now, and we were in Georgia and looking through historical documents. And when you're looking at a handwritten, this beautifully hand cursive written last will and testament, where the father is giving to his 12-year-old daughter 2 slaves by name, you know,
Right.
it brings the reality of what is going on
Right.
and
Yeah.
the residual effects that this has on our combined history. White America's biggest issue is that somehow we've separated ourselves rather than embracing it, rather than looking
Right.
at bluegrass music and the banjo. It's an African instrument.
Right.
You look at rock and roll, jazz, poetry, what came out of the Harlem Renaissance. You look at, you know, the great composers,
Absolutely.
Miles Davis.
Yeah.
It's something
you know,
my uncle is really fond of saying is
Okay.
that black history is American history.
Absolutely.
Because the word black to describe a race and even describe white as a race only gets its start in
In
America,
America.
to
Right.
use
Yeah.
as a way to justify slavery.
Right.
So, you know, it's to your point when I went to college at Franklin, Indiana, and the majority of my first year on that campus, I was the first black person a lot of people met. And I don't know if any of y'all have ever been an ambassador before, but I definitely didn't have the training when I was first down there, but it was something that I realized that I had to do over and over again.
Right.
I had to have the conversations when I describe, you know, people come and ask me, you know, where are you from? At a
Right.
college town, and you're introducing yourself, and I say, oh, you know, I'm from Indianapolis, and they would go, oh, what's Indy like? And I'm like, I've never lived in Indy. I'm from that town, if you want to get specific. And people
Right.
thought I was making a word up. You know, and I think a lot of people just don't get it. They think it's something alien and strange, and it is, but that's the fun of meeting people.
Right.
And I think that's my favorite part about Black Lives Matter too, is that there's certain elements in the show that we do that you will get as somebody who's grown up black in America, and especially somebody who's been through turmoils and tragedies, but it's presented and written in such a way, because Angela's done such a great job, and Aisha, of crafting the words, that even if you don't have that inherent understanding of it, the context of the play, the context of our culture and our country at large, will bring you into a situation where you can start to understand why certain things play out the way they do, why there's this uniform reaction among people when we hear about one of our young boys getting killed in the street.
Yeah.
And we know before any other facts come out that we're going to learn about his potential criminal history.
That's the first thing.
Right.
Yeah,
Like-
yeah, and I want to touch on that, man, because do y'all think that Black lives should matter more to Black people
Oh, yeah.
or to, you know, everyone else? And the reason why I asked that question is because, you know, one of my childhood friends, he was actually killed last night. You know, I didn't find out, man, until like 1 p.m. today.
Sorry to hear that, man.
Yeah, but you know, rest in peace, Sammy. Yeah, good stand-up guy, man. I don't know what happened, but I just know he was shot to death. So, but you know, I say that, man, to say this. You know, he got killed in the same neighborhood that we both grew up in. So, just going by numbers, it was probably somebody of our color, right? So we do all this protesting when something, you know, when a white cop kills us or, you know, one of us, and then, you know, we march in the streets and, you know, we tear up, you know, buildings and stuff. But it's like when we do it to ourselves, it's like nothing happened. You know, it's just, well, and I think it should be reversed, you know, if anything.
Yeah.
You know, if you had a choice, that feeling should be reversed. So, I mean, what is your take on that? Like, I mean, do you think that it should matter more to us?
My thing is that when you see a black on black crime, there's no rush from any media sources to paint the killer, who's not a murderer yet, because that's a conviction, right? There's no rush to paint the situation as the killer feared for his life. There's no rush to describe somebody who kills somebody else in the street of both of their neighborhoods and create a situation where if I was in their shoes, I would have done the same thing. There's criminal law, there's fact checking, there's an investigation. They bring them in, and then you render a verdict. And if that person is guilty, they go to jail. But we don't have ABC Nightline interviews with black men that kill other black men in the streets. You're not going to get leave of absence and six-figure payoffs to go on ABC in the middle of the night and describe your family life and why you might have shot somebody today.
It's also, though, a part of self-worth because, once again, systematically, you are thought to be beneath everyone else. Systematically, you have in your DNA people dealing with black trauma, with people dying. Not that there's a desensitivity to it, but it is ingrained in us almost that is our norm. And if you don't have self-worth or self-love of your black self, it's much easier to kill another black because if you don't love you, you're not going to love them. And that is something that has to be unlearned, retrained, retaught, you know, dealing with the PTSD that our community has had because
and still suffering from in many ways.
I mean, right now,
everything that's happening when you see someone get shot in cold blood on video, and then and you see a person walk free or go home, that's traumatic.
Correct.
That's like a kid seeing a guy get shot on the street, and you know that guy goes in his house and sits down and starts watching TV. It's like nothing happens to that guy.
Right.
You know that he just did. So you know a lot, and not only kids but adults are traumatic. You know, it's a traumatic event.
It's a process of when our homies get killed. You know what I mean? Like that's trauma, and you know certain areas due to poverty, due to education, due to you know lack of opportunities, deal with a lot of trauma daily. Chicago, Compton, those places where the gang banging and the shooting and people, like hundreds of people that you know die continuously, that it does something to you.
Yeah, and another reason why black on black crime is so prevalent in those areas are because the community itself has lost faith in anybody helping in that community.
Correct.
You know, so if you live in that community and the police officer is treated some kind of way, you know, it doesn't get any news or media attention unless somebody gets killed. You know, naturally people aren't going to have confidence in the area anyway. Right. So the people living in it is like, whatever, you know, and it goes back to back when segregation happened and populations of people, you know, after slavery, populations of people were forced into certain areas. Yeah. And you know, and I use this analogy, which is if you put a bunch of rats in a cube, you know, eventually they're going to start tearing each other apart to survive. Exactly. So, you know, at some point in time, you know, there was no reintegration process into leaving the farms, slave land or whatever to go back in to become civilized. So now they're like, oh, they just need to get it together. It's like there should have been a process
Yes.
Because these people, this is like somebody getting out of jail that's been in jail for years, and now you want them to go.
Yeah,
That's
well,
live normal.
yeah,
No, you
well,
don't.
well, because
You
they
know-
didn't.
To the free will,
You
like
don't
it's
really
not-
want
yeah.
them to, though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You have
but
to
you know,
think
they-
about the mind
Right.
frame. They could have done that if they wanted to.
Yeah,
It could have been okay for a man to live in the household and the woman still get assistance. You know, it's systematic. It is ingrained in our culture. You know what I mean? Just as we know it, you know, like Robert said, white history has had that same thing.
Right.
We just need to understand and how to combine them. And that's why I love what this play does. I
Wow.
love the
That
fact
reintegration.
that we give snippets of all
Yeah.
the stuff that we're
Yeah.
talking about. And
Absolutely.
part of what I loved about this and just having these words handed to me was that a lot of what they were writing, I could tell they were talking about maybe slavery or something that happened in the
makes
past.
sense.
But
Right.
every way that I wanted to interpret it had the same thing going on right now.
Yes.
So we can say these words and you know, respect our ancestors, but we can also, it is our rallying cry as well. It's almost like it's like a portal to me. That's
Yeah.
why I
Right,
love the
right.
arts.
But doesn't it feel good, like for the Cleveland Browns, right? And I just pulled this up. 'Cause
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure I got the name right. You know, you have you know, guys kneeling, you know, and then you have quarterback or some players who are Caucasian, one kneeling and one holding his hand on the back of a professional football player's shoulder.
Hey,
That right there.
yeah, really quick, right on that one. Supposedly, that white guy is the first white guy to kneel.
This guy here.
Yeah, he's the first white guy to kneel.
And I heard
Okay,
of two
right
different
here.
things on ESPN. One said he was, and then somebody said two others did it. But we're
Okay,
talking about
okay.
him now.
Right,
which
right.
is what's
But the
cool.
thing is like it's so beautiful to see that.
Yes.
Because nobody is saying, "Hey, give us money for what you did to us." They're saying, "Don't you get it? Don't you understand?"
Just
And
justice. that's
and
it.
just putting his hand on him is just like, "I get it, bro.
Yeah.
Now let's go out here and play." You know what I'm saying? That's really all that needs to happen. That
is.
transaction right there.
It is.
There's nothing more than that. It's just acknowledgement,
You're right.
right?
And there's an odd juxtaposition too, because I challenge anybody, go to any medical school,
Right.
right, long-standing medical school, and they'll have a hallway, and they will have the class pictures, or a law school, and they'll have the class pictures all the way back to the 1800s, and
Right.
just look at them as snapshots in time,
Right.
and see how long it took to get where things are integrated. I mean, my
Right.
wife in 1995, this still floors me, the first African American to graduate with a master's degree in English from Auburn University in 1995. I was
Wow.
talking to have a major in my
95.
office.
Yeah,
and
that's
this year.
crazy.
This year was the first time an African American captain, female captain, graduated from Westport Academy in
Wow.
2017. See, and it gets back to this
Wow.
whole sense of history where Dina's saying that and in the play, this really
Absolutely.
plays out this juxtaposition of understanding
Right.
that a lot of the things, the deep-rooted things, they're hard, they're vicious.
Right.
If you are a soul of consciousness, if you have a thought within inside of your mind that says, yes, we're in this together, you know, even my redneck brother posted something on Facebook the other day, and it floored me because what he was essentially, the image was saying is that what the establishment is scared of is us getting along, us coming to a common
Wow.
understanding.
Right.
And that's one of the things with Jackson Brown Entertainment that we're striving to do is that we want theater to mean something. We want our audience when they come and they pay their money, which we need them to do to support this so we can do more of it.
Okay.
To
Right.
see themselves on the stage, to see the brilliance of what Eli does, the soulfulness of what he does. When Dina is doing Emmett Till's mother, just the soulfulness of what she brings and
Right.
the imagery of what this brings, because that's the crucible of truth.
Right.
These guys come to the stage and they're to the bone, they're to the marrow, they're to the core of understanding this is our reality. You know, there's the one thing where everybody's on stage, all 7 of our cast, and it's "we fear" is the mantra that goes on. And that's something, you know, I don't get. I'm going down the road, driving in my Lexus in my suit and tie at the end of a day. If I get pulled over by a police officer, it's, yes, sir, how are you today? You were going a little bit slow. Did you have a long day? Yes, sir, I did. Well, next time, slow it down. And that's all I get.
Right,
If they stop me at all.
Right.
And most of the time, they won't even. And I'm cruising down the road.
Right. Yeah.
Robert, I have a serious question, man, to ask you, okay? You know how we as black people, have been told to leave the history in the past, right? And not focus on that and just move forward. Do you think that blacks can do that without knowing our
I don't think anybody
history?
can do it. I don't think anybody can do it. I think even if you look at it as an individual, if I want to change who I am as a man,
Yeah.
if I want to understand who I am as a man, I have to deal with my past. I have to deal with
Right.
my grandfather's history. With,
Right.
I have to deal with this because it becomes intricate to who I am as a man.
Sure.
And I think that when you look at society, all society is an accumulation of people. And it too has to deal with its past honestly, sincerely, truthfully. Now, can I change the reality? No, I can't change the reality.
Right.
I'm not even sure whether I can make atonement of it. But I damn well better be aware of it.
Absolutely.
I better be surely to be aware of it, to understand my fashion, my music, my poetry, my art, my heritage. Josh has said, Black America is an American story. It's not an African story.
Right.
It's not separate at all in any way, shape, or form. And what they bring to the stage is the American story.
Absolutely.
In its raw beauty. And they do it with such grace and such heart. And, I'm, again,
Right.
I'm honored to see
What do you-
what they do.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say there's a couple of people that said things that I wanted to kind of.
Sure.
First off, someone said that movement was a distraction from what people should be really concentrating on. And the second one was a question about the whole title of Black Lives Matter. So I want to combine the two.
Okay.
First, start off saying this. We are doing a play called Black Lives Matter too.
Right.
As far as being representatives of Black Lives Matter movement, I don't even know the groundwork of how it started, but giving this to me, I interpret it
Yeah.
to matter.
And what you're doing is a different, it's different from the movement.
Right.
Right,
Yeah.
right, right.
Or is
exactly.
it? You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
exactly.
So
Yeah.
the person that says that, I think it's Mr. Mike Matthews, that a movement is a distraction, and it's distracting what we really should be concentrating on. And what I'm doing, I beg to differ.
Okay.
Because what I'm concentrating on is making a difference. What I'm concentrating on is when we have young ladies giving reviews saying, I am inspired by seeing people like me tell the story. So anything that I can do to make our troubled people, our hurt people, any inkling through my art that I can do to make you change or make you feel, that is what I should be concentrating on.
Absolutely.
Yes,
I would
And
say
just
that it's
for
a good distraction.
Yes.
I mean, people need to be distracted and understand that things are happening that you don't know about. And when somebody brings, that's like a kid sitting in a room and he's being beat up on by someone, and you go out and say, "Hey, this guy keeps beating up on me," and you're like, I didn't see that.
Yeah, I ain't-
Well, I don't, it's,
Right.
Are you
when
bleeding?
you guys are
Well, then let it go.
here, I don't see it.
Where's your proof?
And this
Yeah,
kid keeps coming
exactly.
and saying, "Hey, these guys are still beating up on me.
Yeah.
Can you do something about it?" Well, I didn't see it, so.
But then they get mad
Sorry.
at the kid when the kid finally reacts.
And
Right,
then when that kid kills that guy, and it's
Lights
like,
off, yep.
see, you see what I'm saying? This is kind of what's happening, and it's like it's not going to go away because as long as black folk continue to see the injustices, you're going to see pockets of people get infuriated, and you're going to see more Black Lives Matter movements and groups come along because
In other avenues,
Right.
just as, the white nationalists have split off and splintered and they all want to start off in different ways, the Black Lives Matter movement, it's almost like the media tried to vilify it. Like they
Right.
try to, anything that we want to do to feel good or acknowledge ourselves is like condemnation, like how dare you? The
Right,
fact that we
yeah.
have to say, hey, we matter too. Like,
Right.
that's crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's and
I'm with
then
you, yeah.
and here's another thing that I want you guys to give me your input on. A lot of people are vilifying Black Lives Matter and comparing them to white nationalists
Yeah.
or neo-Nazis.
Well, that's just
Why
It is crazy.
why are they putting these two on the same level?
Well, yeah, I think
You know?
I feel like with that, I feel like in a sense with that, like no matter when you try to start a positive movement, it's going to bring something negative regardless. So you
Right.
got to understand. You have to have that understanding. and-
though.
yeah,
Yeah, but
Yeah, but we get that.
Yeah.
You
I
know what I'm
bet
saying?
you do.
and some people don't get that. So that's
Right.
why it's hard for some people to understand the movement and stuff because they just want to look at it from their perspective of it.
Right.
They're not
Why do you
understanding the
even
full
need to have
cause.
something like that? Like, oh,
Yeah, let me start. Yeah, let them start killing your
No,
family.
yeah, go
Yeah, let them kill your brother,
I can't
cousin, and
do
them.
that
It's the-
because we're
it's-
like, you know, that would be there are kids listening. But that's insane.
Right.
Look,
Yeah,
I mean, sometimes if it walks like a duck and talks like a duck, it's a duck. Anybody who opens their mouth, the president of the United States, Donald J. Trump, I am talking to you, you son of a bitch.
Oh,
you know, for
let him
1
know.
second,
He white,
you
it's okay.
stand
I
up.
ain't gonna
you
Yeah, he has
stand
that-
up
that's a
and
white
you
privilege
say-
right there.
and you say for 1 second that Black Lives Matter is the same as Nazis. How dare you
Yeah.
insult our collective
Collective
intelligence
Right.
in that manner? How dare you foster
Right.
that? Because nothing is further from the truth. All people are trying to say is that yes, there are injustices out there.
Look at
the
this.
inner
Look and
city.
see what's
Look
going
at the
on. Look at
education
this.
system. Look at
Right.
wealth and how that's divided in this country.
Like,
I'm
look
not
at
asking
the
for a
environment
handout,
that
I'm
you're
just
having to
asking
stay
for an
in.
opportunity.
Yeah.
you can look
absolutely.
at this historically. I don't even
stuff, Rob.
worry about having this quote unquote open discussion with people who try to compare BLM, which you'll notice a lot of people will say. They won't call it Black Lives Matter. Peep the language first and foremost. When they try to transform it into a 3-letter acronym for
KKK,
something
right?
else,
Yeah.
they try to compare the Black Panthers to the KKK. And I've
Right.
never heard of a KKK breakfast meeting. I don't know about no KKK literacy programs. You would think rednecks would have a literacy program to help combat the stereotype, but you would see Huey P. Newton and the Black Panther Party giving breakfast to young
Groceries.
kids. And now we
Groceries
can
and
look
breakfast.
forward 40 years
That's why
later
they was
at
created.
our school districts seeing them introducing breakfast programs. Why? Because kids who are hungry don't do well in school. Kids who don't do well in school commit crimes. Kids who commit crimes tend to get shot by the police or end up in prison.
Right.
Gee,
That's
I
why it's
wonder
part
what a
of the-
breakfast program might be trying to help solve.
They just want to eat.
You know what I mean? But it's like I said, you know, the closer you can get to dragging everything towards the bottom, as a person inside of myself, I am going to elevate myself above that just because I don't want to be caught up in the muck of it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So for President Trump or anybody who just feels like they're a bystander or anybody who feels like they're in it, the more they can drag the entire situation into this chaos and this war-torn environment or this very emotionally charged environment, they're going to lift themselves out of it, because when they go sit by themselves, they're going to think and make as many excuses as possible to go, man, that's not involved with me. I'm not one of those types of people. I might dislike this dude, but I'm not like that. And it's something that you have to confront continuously. To speak on distractions, that's the issue, is what are you being distracted from?
From,
Because
right.
if you ask yourself that question, you're not going to have any fun. And if that's the type of life you can live, that's cool. But think about it. The next time you say, oh, yo, that's a nice down piece on Instagram, and you double tap that, what could you have been doing with that little bit of time that you just spent? Could you have been writing something? Could you have been building something? Could you have been doing something? Because when you actually commit to making those decisions, those types of people change things, and they make statements like Black Lives Matter.
Taking that first step, that's what it's about.
Yep.
Right.
There's that one part where one of our actors, it's this, the dichotomy of us versus them.
Right.
It's never, you know, how does the line go?
It's always
It's
us.
It's always us.
It's
It's
never
never
them.
them. And there's that dichotomy. I mean, that's to the root of all this stuff.
Right.
It's much easier for me to point at all the things that I don't have control over and blame them for my plight, instead of understanding that there is commonality between my plight and their
Right.
plight. You know, you look at cities like Eaton, Indiana, rural, I mean, where drugs are just slaughtering.
Right.
Meth is slaughtering these young men and young women. They have no hope. They look at education. There's nothing in education for me. You know, they
Yep.
have systemically exactly the same issues, yet they can align themselves with whatever they want to align themselves to see themselves as the victor.
Right.
and exclude the realities of what they should be focusing on: education, opportunity, the way the prison system is a meat grinder of the human soul
Absolutely.
because it's a for-profit measure. You know,
Right.
all of these kind of things, and until there's a cohesiveness, then we're going to battle this in separate pockets. And as long
Absolutely.
as we're battling in separate pockets, the paradigm's not going to shift.
Right, and this is why it's important for Donald Trump to denounce, what's what, because this is keeping this going. It's keeping this conversation going. Just when you feel like you've achieved something, you say, okay, now they're getting it, now they're getting it. Then he comes out and says something that puts it all back on the same surface again. You're like, okay, now we're back to square one, trying to prove ourselves again.
And that's why I truly, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to
Go ahead. No,
I
that's good. No, go
truly
ahead.
feel like, timing is everything. Is this a coincidence? I always get on them.
I'm not worried.
That, we have rehearsals late. Like, everybody that is doing this cast has been so amazing. There is such
Sure.
an authenticity and a realness that they have to share with this piece in order for it to be as good as it is.
Sure.
I offer an invitation, to white people to come see this. The theater is a
Absolutely.
safe space.
Yes.
Yes, we are honest, we are brutal, we are in your face, but we know these stories.
Right.
The people that are my color that come see this, they know these stories too,
Right.
and it's in a different experience because it's, I can relate. But we are teachers, we are messengers right now. We are the resistance to,
Absolutely.
Donald Trump. I want to still have our voice be heard regardless of the talking heads,
Sure.
which is another, line in the
yeah.
show. And there's so many things that you
Yeah.
can just
Don't give him too
Do
much
you guys
credit.
have
Don't
a
give him too
piece
much.
that you can share? Like,
I can,
like pull them in. Pull some people in.
Yes, they do.
Give us a little bit.
What they want us to do?
Do the opening.
the whole intro.
See, Dina don't want to get that in the way.
When they hand it up.
Just a little
Okay,
bit.
go ahead.
Where-
This is
You
so
can
win
do
them win 'em
Lay it out,
over.
baby. Lay it out.
You can do the intro.
We're gonna do the intro.
So now I feel like we got to kick a freestyle on the race. But nah, but one of the things that Dina mentioned and before we start this is that this is professional work, and I take that word very, very
Yeah.
seriously. I declare myself a professional first and foremost. So when you come
Absolutely.
to see this show,
Oh yes.
it is about getting you into your feelings.
Yes.
Right.
Because in
Because
Supposed to
I'm in
move
mines.
you.
Yes,
Yes.
because I'm in mines already.
Man,
I'm up there
look.
doing my feelings, so I want us to be uncomfortable together.
Yeah.
Right.
So-
So
Absolutely.
let's take this
Share
journey
this.
together.
as you
Yes.
mentioned in the intro to the show about how this is something that's not afraid to tackle issues, the
Right.
show itself and the things that we say are meant to evoke that response. But we're professionals. You're in a safe space. But if your insides are torn up and you got to look at that,
That's on you.
this is
That's
what
a
you
good
came
thing
for.
because
Yeah.
you have to destroy and
that's the
rebuild.
point.
Exactly. That's
and
the whole
where
point.
else
Yeah.
can you do that?
But,
But the arts, in song, in music, in theater.
If
I'm with
it's
you,
all
yeah.
the same, I think we're gonna start from the top and then go just straight through
To your
something
one.
you did.
I'm
Okay.
still
So
figuring.
why?
Look, when I see you doing your line, I know where I got to come in at.
Okay.
Before Eli starts, the one thing I want to again, it's my job with our production company as director of operations is number one to take care of my people.
Absolutely.
To make sure that they have an environment that fosters pure creativity.
Absolutely.
Absolute pure creativity. They don't have to worry about all of the minutia that goes on to it.
Sure.
And when Eli is saying professional, I would put this work above anything that you're seeing in Chicago, anything that you're seeing in Broadway, anything that you're seeing in any theater anywhere.
There it is.
This is
Yes.
a quality piece with love and passion and grace. Our cast is just simply amazing. Erica just brings it first time. This is Josh's first time.
Yeah.
on
My first
theater.
theatrical. Yeah, my first
thing.
theatrical.
He
performance.
just
Wow.
flat out.
But what I know him from is he's an improv actor.
Yeah.
He's a comedian.
Yeah.
I've seen
Yeah.
him do his thing. So in my mind, when I'm casting, I need that anchor. You know what I mean? When I'm looking
Sure.
at how to break this up, and because the work is so heavy. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's
Right.
so heavy.
And time
Right.
consuming.
So I had to put it in a way where the heaviness is a little easier to
Sure.
carry.
Right,
you
yeah.
know,
Sure.
Through seeing
Yes.
sing, dance, through hearing music as well, through hearing the drums, things that kind of help alleviate some of the trauma, that we're talking about.
That's why I feel like we all put our lives into this. Like we really dedicated the time and the effort and professionalism just to go and
countless. The hours are just of rehearsal, of practicing their lines. I mean, it's
Wow.
just simply amazing the dedication that these people bring.
Yeah.
So
Okay, so
You ain't got to scream, though.
we going?
Nah, that's just a mic. Yeah.
Uh-oh. Here we go.
Here we go.
Today, we stand before you crying out for our generation, crying out the words, Black Lives Matter too. We say too because if we don't, some people only hear only. You see, they read between the lines, and the best they can come up with is black folks only care about themselves. Like we see ourselves above them, like we created slavery, hopped on a boat, came to the Americas, and voluntarily stayed in that condition of enslavement for 144 years. Just so later we could say, we survived. Like we fought and died to escape slavery, only to say, no, we need Jim Crow laws to help us grow stronger so that one day when we're good and ready, we can break those chains too. Like we took out a bounty on our leaders, Medgar, Martin, and all the others, because really, who needs leaders when you can just wander aimlessly in the desert, lost with no map and no mission to find home, yet still arrive at your destination on time?
So today, we've come to clarify and explain to those who still find the words Black Lives Matter a mystery. Now, these story poems are for those of you who may be still sitting there wondering, why the hell am I having to sit through this uncomfortable journey backwards and forwards in time? Why can't we all be colorblind and noiseless? Why can't we all just PC our way through life and not rattle any chains in the process? Why can't you people just wrap your emotions inside of a blanket and stuff it inside of your mouths? Why can't all lives matter and we just leave it at that? Why?
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 Why? Why?
And then we hit you with a little bit of this.
Wow.
It comes in a little bit more.
Oh
That's
man,
dope, bro.
I feel like I'm watching
Insane.
Netflix.
Yeah, I was sitting
yeah,
here, man,
some more.
zoning out, man, for a minute. I'm like, hold on.
Look, if you want to rewind that, come to the play. Look.
Yeah, that's one thing.
Play
that
the play.
I
What's
was
that
looking
again?
for y'all yesterday. Y'all were supposed to come.
I know.
Yeah, that's
I know.
factual.
We have to leave this like Thursday to go away to do some business for the Gray Area, and we've just
Okay.
been so
I understand
wrapped
that,
up and
Super
crazy.
busy. Yeah, we apologize.
We
man.
apologize
though.
sincerely. We're gonna make it up.
All right, it's all right.
It's all right. That's one of the things, though, man. I appreciate in any moment the artistry of creation and the business. You know, we got Rob B here, the director of operations, and
Yes.
you all doing the business work yourselves. You know that one of the main things about artistry, and especially artistry as a black people who don't have a lot of infrastructure, is to be able to put together platforms for people and
Absolutely.
artists to do things. So I gotta say, first and foremost, yo, shout outs to y'all for even
Thank you.
hosting us on this
Yes.
platform.
Yes,
Thank
I
you.
appreciate
Thank you,
this,
man.
yes.
The work that
Yeah.
gets done to build
Appreciate that.
Absolutely.
is what I call boring but necessary.
Yeah.
Because
Absolutely.
I can go and do that monologue anywhere in the world, and if they don't know what I'm talking about, I'm just a raving madman on the street,
Absolutely.
or I'm just a fool. But here is something different, and the people who create those platforms deserve more respect than they get.
We
in
appreciate
general.
that, man.
But
Thank
yeah,
you.
Just
True
just
that.
got to show the love to the gray area.
Thank you.
Great
We
area.
and this is why we do it, because so many things go unseen and unheard. There's discussions that don't take place. You know what I'm saying? Like this is something like we invite anybody to come here. You don't have to be black. You don't have to be. You could be whatever. You could be
gray.
yourself.
Great. Come to
Just
the gray
come and
area.
have a
Yes.
conversation with
The
us.
gray area where all colors are
Because
welcome.
oftentimes when you sit down with someone and talk to them, and after that conversation is over, you both leave feeling good that you actually did something that helped you understand another person
Yeah,
or another way of life.
Yeah.
I hear conversations all the time. Like a friend of mine, he says, his Nate. Nate's black. Nate drives through, country towns and whatnot. And he says all through those country towns where he's driving through, all he hears is people downgrading the African American community and downgrading the things that make it beautiful. Black Lives Matter. And he's like, I can only imagine, all these people living in these rural areas. This is
Man,
all
yeah.
they
They know.
hear
That's
all
all they
day long.
And that
And
was-
they hear nothing else. And a lot of those areas they watch news channels like Fox News and things that kind of like go with the narrative, so they oftentimes don't get a chance to and this is why we created this platform. Come talk to us. Let's answer
Come
let
to
us
the
answer
play.
some of your
Come-
questions.
Yes, come
Have us
talk.
out at your school. We'll have a talk back.
Yes.
Plug the play.
Come to the play.
Plug and play. Yes.
Wh-
come
When is
on.
it?
Where is the
When-
play?
We
Yeah.
have had 3 shows. We have 3 more left. Please come. We are part of a theater, just an entertainment festival. It's called the Fringe Festival. It goes
Fringe
all over
Festival.
the world.
Okay.
So right now it's Indie Fringe. We have a show. It is on Mass Ave, 748. The new
fire
fireman,
station.
the like connect to the museum
Okay.
and the hall right there on the
Okay.
end. We have a show Friday at 9 p.m.
Yes.
Saturday at 6
Mark your
p.m.
calendars.
and Sunday at 1:30.
And those are exact times as well.
Yeah,
This
they
is
are.
not
Yes.
this is not
They
that.
are not
That's not
playing
black
with
people
CP
time. Yeah.
at all.
I had to accept an apology from my roommate because he tried to come in late and he said he got turned around.
Yeah.
I've had a
to
few
the
people
show.
got turned
Oh,
away.
yeah.
They are not
Yeah,
playing.
they don't
You
play about
have to
that.
come on time.
Are you gonna? Are you gonna have the show recorded at all?
Well, we're working on that. We have some things. I mean, again, this.
And it's hard to shoot plays.
All of it said.
You know what I
it'll
mean?
be gone.
Well,
Yeah,
we're gonna do it again.
We have
Don't
we have
worry.
plans. We're trying to work with the econ department at Ball State and put some things together there. Try to use it as a graduate level program. They have state of the art equipment and everything. It's I mean, that's the bottom line. Here is that and again from a producer's perspective. If my wife wrote the next great American bestseller, we just put this stuff on. We just bankroll the whole thing.
Right.
But when you look at insurance, paying, our actors are paid, paying our actors, and we're not even touching what they're worth. When you look at the value of what you're getting for your
Right.
$15.
Right.
But
Man.
all of these kind of things go into, I'm building the props in my shop.
Wow.
For all of our shows. So we
Yeah.
do as much of it in-house as we can. But the very bottom line, when the rubber hits the road, for this kind of theater to exist in this city,
Right.
we have 84 chairs that need to be filled every single performance.
Right.
And if it's when we first did this with Onyx Fest, we got into the same kind of rhythm. We saw trickle in the first couple of performances. On our Sunday performance,
just took off.
we put over almost
We lost our
100
stage to
Yeah.
chairs.
100 people in a 70
Yeah,
person
we were-
thing.
Like I was doing the
So-
play in somebody's lap.
Yeah,
Like
they had to put chairs into
Yeah.
what is our acting
Wow.
space.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
And a
who's the-
shout out, and I've got to give a shout out to Pauline and George, who oversee Indie Fringe. I mean, with Onyx Fest that they do every year, Diva Fest, where we did Anna's Wings at first, and they really provided a platform for us to get our foot in the theater. And now we just want to
Absolutely.
see this grow. I mean, there are great works out there. Great talent. I mean, just phenomenal talent.
Yeah,
And-
just to touch a little bit on that, the context of this play being at Indie Fringe. I think this is the 13th year they've had Indie Fringe, and it has
Okay.
quickly become one of the bigger showcases for theater in Indianapolis, which is not a massively big city for a theater.
Right.
But for me growing up, because I'm 24 years old, so when I was first learning about professional theater in high school in the theater class, Indie Fringe was already something that was really relatively
Okay.
well known. So I've grown up already holding this in some esteem, and I can say that it is important that this show be at that festival, and
Right.
the support that it gets from the community will speak
Right.
very
Because
clearly.
It travels, so we
Right.
can maybe be asked to be in Fringe London.
Yeah.
London
You.
Fringe
I mean, you guys
Festival,
are the
Brooklyn
only
Fringe.
Black Lives Matter play right now.
that we're aware of.
Yeah,
Correct.
yeah.
Well,
that-
I haven't even
there's
se-
there's a group of young boys, elementary school boys, and they are actually using theater as therapy, and they have Black Lives Matter in there.
Okay. Okay.
But and,
Well,
and
well,
again,
it's
to
necessary
speak,
all
somebody
over.
asked the question again about what I was saying is I don't know. Like this play actually was going to be named something else, and
Okay.
this
Oh.
is something no, that they decided before all of this jumped off.
But the name is perfect.
But
though.
the name
Yes.
is perfect. So
It's
somebody's
perfect.
asking me, what I thought. My question is for purpose, a clarification of intent and strategy. And all I can say is, once again, I'm not an ambassador for Black Lives Matter, but for Black Lives Matter too, my strategy is to
I know that's right.
inspire, to open eyes, to bring comfort, to
Absolutely.
heal wounds, to wrap arms around, even just for that 50 minutes that you are there with us.
Right.
Let's get some work done.
Let's build this
You know,
understanding.
I've had
yes.
so many people tell me that they think about it days afterwards.
Yeah.
So I can't speak for what Black Lives Matters means to anybody, but what I meant to, foster. And I can't give enough to this cast. Like, they just,
Sure.
I feel safe with them. And so that makes it's easier for you to create when
Right.
you have, nobody in that group would ever let anything happen to me.
Right.
Give everybody a shout out too.
Yeah. Call out some of the
They're-
actors.
They're
Who's-
all there.
Yeah.
Everybody's
Shout
on-
out to Jamal.
Jamal McCray.
Yeah. Philip.
Philip Armstrong. And
Andrea.
Andrea Wilson, Erica,
Erica.
Casey, our
And
black girl.
Sateria.
Soteria on the drums, on the ones and twos.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's just a one, but no two. But
Man, this is incredible, and it's so necessary, not just to Black Lives Matter and the idea of it, the ideology, but
Yeah.
for you guys to be doing something that you love to do and inspiration for this.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? I think that's beautiful, and you're, I can't say enough, man. I
Robert
just think that it's
Dallas.
awesome
It is, man.
that you're a part of this. Your wife wrote this. You guys are like Put- putting it into fruition.
That whole idea of serendipity. Sometimes, it was one of the first posts I put. Sometimes the tumblers of the universe just work if we
Right.
allow them to work. And
Right.
My job is just to get the hell out of the way and
Yeah.
let these wonderfully gifted, passionate. I just cannot say
Absolutely.
enough about
Absolutely.
the craft that has gone on. Again, you will not see a better representative of what theater is anywhere in the United
Right.
States.
And
Not in New
I will
York,
back that
not
up
in
with
Broadway.
percussion, with dance, with voice. Everybody.
all
is-
elements. We
and
giving
it's
it
the
all.
Top of the game.
Wow.
yeah.
9 p.m. Friday.
Yes. Please come
6
see
I'm
us.
telling you, it's worth it.
How many people are in this? Are a part of your group?
Seven, eight.
Well, including my
Yeah, oh
house,
yeah, yeah. That's
What
right.
you
Yeah,
mean,
80 y'all
yeah,
making 80 y'all making this much noise?
yeah.
Wow.
That's what we try. Hey,
Right up in Nouveau.
Yes.
That was awesome.
yeah, I love it.
Awesome
Oh, yeah.
picture.
Shout out to
Great
Nouveau.
review.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
that's so funny because I believe anybody who says I don't read reviews, they lying.
Oh, my
They
God.
lying. We were grinning ear to ear. We
Ah.
did,
I felt like Celia. I was like,
Yeah,
I was just so happy about it.
And there's so much.
So many
Again,
different.
with inside of the African American acting
Sure.
theater group that we've come across. Again, this is Jackson Brown Entertainment's fourth major production. And there's such great talent, and they need. There's this relationship that happens, right? The actors come to the words, the writer writes the words and has the envision, and the actors come to the words and they bear themselves naked in
Yeah,
front of God and
exactly.
everybody
Yes.
for the sake of those words.
Yeah.
This is meaningless because along with all of this, along with our cast, we've got to mention our audience because the difference between a room
Absolutely.
of 20 and a packed house in the energy and the way that it can change the paradigm of our reality.
Sure.
It's the difference between dropping a pebble in a pond and dropping a boulder.
Right.
And shout out to my white friends for coming. Thank you,
know,
Angela
right?
Plank, and thank
They
you,
are coming.
Aaron Becker.
We love y'all for that.
Appreciate you for coming. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I love you.
It's so important that family, friends, and everybody support things
Yeah.
like this. Stop being afraid of what you don't understand.
Bring your
Exactly.
Young children.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
bring the
it's-
kids.
We really, I
Yeah.
think.
Teens.
Yeah, I
And
think-
even if you've seen it in Onyx Fest, it's tweaked. We're tighter. We're a little more fluid.
Yeah, oh, yeah,
Things
we-
are happening
yes.
a little differently. Come through, please.
Y'all better see
The
it
stunts
now.
are more dangerous.
Y'all better see it now before they hit Broadway for real, and these
telling
tickets
you.
be $100 apiece.
You said that's it?
That
$500 a piece.
Yeah, I know, right?
$15.
I want the Floyd Mayweather seat tickets.
From his mouth to God's ear.
This is awesome. This has been a great discussion, guys.
Yeah,
I'm
man.
glad y'all
Thank
came
you.
through.
Thank y'all for
Beautiful
having us.
discussion. Yeah.
We want to continue to follow up with you guys even after this, just to see how this is going, because we want to support this as much as possible. And you know what we like to do is just closing remarks. Just let the people know, individually. Let them know, who y'all are, what y'all doing, and why they should come out to see this phenomenal play. Go ahead, Eli.
Black Lives Matter 2 is the first play where I've played multiple characters, but they're all myself. This show is as honest as you can really get in a theater space, and it's an open for an audience emotional trip. This is not just us coming to lecture anybody of any color, race, or age.
Sure.
Period. It's not young people getting lectured by adults, and it's
Right.
not white people getting lectured by black people. It's a group of professionals speaking to an audience and getting that in return.
Absolutely.
That is the greatest thing that I can offer an audience to come see this show at 9 p.m. on Friday.
9 p.m. Friday?
6:30 on
6 o'clock.
And you can see that Saturday and Sunday.
Saturday and
Friday,
Sunday.
Friday, Saturday,
and
Friday,
Sunday.
Saturday, and
Sunday
Sunday.
is at 1:30.
1:30
Perfect.
on
All
Sunday.
weekend.
Right after, if you go to church, come
Yeah.
through. You just getting up. come
And the
through.
times are exact times.
Exact
Yes.
time, not
Okay.
CP time. Yeah, hey,
It's
y'all.
not
They are
1:30.
not lying.
1:30 is not 2:08.
Yeah, not at all. 'Cause look, they gonna, sir, no.
You get there at 1:31, you can't come in.
Can't come in. I'm Joshua Owens. I want you to come because I just, like I said, raising awareness. Like, this has to be talked about, and wanting to make that first step to just have people even have this evening in the discussion. That's what I want this people to come out and see. I want them to see us give our all, our soul, our mind, our body, all to this play, and just go out there and leave it all alone for you to make your mind up on how you feel about the situation. So that's why I want y'all to come. Just come, please.
Just
Like,
come.
Listen to us, please.
Just come.
Yeah.
Dina.
My name is Dina Toller, and I really want you to come because the cast has a message for you. And the power and the sacrifice that they bring forth to bring this message to you is worthy of hearing. You'll be blessed.
There it is. Dina Toller herself.
Dina
Robert.
Toller.
Shout out to Dina, y'all. I gotta give a shout out to Dina because, like I said, I've done nothing but, as far as stage performance, done nothing but improv and comedy, and just to come out of my shell and just want to do something more, for her to see that in me. Shout out to Dina. Shout out to Dina, y'all.
She put together.
Bomb.com.org.edu. She's all of it. All right.
Dina put together
Yeah.
a hell of a crew, hell of a cast for this, and sometimes is
Oh,
really
you went and found all these people.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's what I was saying. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
I was
Queen.
I was happily retired.
D.
I was happily
Brock hit
sitting,
him out of retirement.
and Dina hit me up with a Facebook message and said,
That's what I was about to say, man. How you going to retire at 24?
Just started.
That's the new millennials, man.
Yeah, I know,
They
right?
retired at 25.
We had this talk with him already. Yeah.
Kanye had the new workout plan, I had the new retirement plan. But
Awesome. Robert?
And I'm Robert L. Brown, and I'm get the. It's. I struggle for words. I really do from time to time. My wife is the wordsmith. I just sit behind everything. Shout absolutely to
Shout her out.
Awesome.
Angela Jackson
Yes.
Brown.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, Google.
Angela Jackson
there,
Brown.
She's a
there are
bad
there are
girl.
times
Bad
I
woman
will
right
say
there.
this about my
Let me do
wife.
that.
Granted, I am partial to her in many different ways, but there are times in generations where voices come about that must be heard. Maya Angelou, Alice Walker, of that caliber, and I will put my wife in that group of people.
Yes.
In
That's the truth.
everything that she does. What we're doing here is just trying to give a space in time for these voices to be heard. Dina says you will be blessed. your life will be changed.
Yes.
Promise.
The
And I-
dialogue
I'll mess around.
begins, and I, I was thinking about it on my way here, and we talk about the pulpit being a crucible, or the classroom being a crucible of truth. The theater and the stage is the crucible of truth. Art is the driving arrow. It is the vanguard.
Yes.
Everything else simply follows behind the trail, and these people are the tip of the spear, and they cut deep, right to the marrow. They expose the truth by their usage of their words, the interpretation of the words, the visualization of the play in its simplest form. They make me a much better man.
Talk
for
about
what
he
it
ain't
is
got
that
words,
they
he's
bring
spitting
every
bars.
single
So I
day.
Hey,
hear
Robert,
see you.
I ain't crying on the live feed, so calm it down, Robert. So I'm already shaking.
Robert
brother.
trying to give us that Oprah.
You got to you got to keep your eye on
Holla,
this.
Oprah.
Where's
All I
Oprah?
need's a thumb up from Oprah, and Katie bar the doors.
What's her name? Gail,
And
Holla,
again,
Gail.
and again,
Right.
just to
Stedman. You went to Ball State, Stedman?
You gotta
Robert.
see Robert, yo. His the way he look at Angela sometimes. I just start singing "Coming to America," like she's your queen. And he know it. You'll just be catching him. He just be staring at her, yo.
That's
and
amazing,
again,
man.
I would
Robert, we in
from,
public.
from the business perspective. Again, shout out to Indie Fringe.
Shout out to Indie Fringe.
For all of the things that they do. Pauline Moffett, George Wallace, who joined them this year. We're a part of Onyx Fest. I mean, part of Indie Fringe. It's 74 performances, and we're not the only ones that are talking.
Wow.
Yes,
that-
there's
No,
quite a
there's
few.
Yes.
quite a
Not.
few out there to
Right.
be
But just to
supported.
be a part of that.
Yes.
The times
Yeah.
are absolutely sharp. Friday at 9. If you get there at 9:01,
And you'll be done by 10.
they
They're-
will not
all
let you
shows
out.
have to be 50 minutes, so you will get in and out.
In and
You
out.
can do 3 in
Yeah.
a day if you want to.
Yeah,
This
it's-
ain't no riff raff. This ain't no nonsense rap concert. When the curtain drops and that playlist is over, we're ready to go. And this is what we've been doing. And
Like,
I will
they
put this up.
deserve this. They deserve you guys to come because they have worked so hard and sacrificed. People got families and kids, and
Absolutely.
everybody done has
Yeah.
such a journey
Man.
to get.
I see you.
No, everybody has. You just come to the theater, and it's when you have a good cast and everybody loves each other, and somebody will be in a funky mood, or somebody, you just leave that there and you take everything you have going on for the day and you let it out. This is therapeutic.
Right.
for
Exactly.
some-
Right.
True.
Absolutely.
both ways. That's why I love theater. Films are great, and movies and TV, but it's something about that theater and that
It's raw.
Yeah.
Theater is raw.
Because if you mess up, you gotta keep
gotta
it
keep
moving.
going.
You're not getting ready to do another
Right.
shot.
Nah.
Yeah.
You gotta keep going.
Nope.
No rewind.
Cling,
Shout
cling,
out to
cling.
you guys. This has
Ain't no
been-
start over.
This has been, this is how it begins. Dina was talking about a purpose, and I'll speak for a moment about Martin Luther.
Okay.
And he knew when he started off, he knew he was pulling, and I know that Mohandas K. Gandhi gets a lot of misunderstanding. You have to understand your history. But
Sure.
movements without purpose, if they are not provocative, and we are provocative,
Right.
if they do not push the envelope, if they do not make you think, if they do not push conventional wisdom, then they are worthless on their face. And what you are
Absolutely.
being sold is a bill of goods. This is not a bill of goods. This
Right.
is the truth. $15, 3 more performances.
Get at
Come
him.
on out.
It's worth
Get
it.
at him. Where can they get the tickets?
They can go to indiefringe.org. You can go to they'll follow down the links to the bottom of the page, and it'll be performances A through Z. Click on that
Indiefringe.org.
link.
Yeah, Angela posted it on the live feed as
Okay,
well.
good,
So if you
good.
want to check
There
the
you
live
go.
feed, it has it there too.
You can order them
Shout out to
online.
Angela.
We're planning on selling out. So if you want to get there, go ahead and get online tonight. Go ahead and order your tickets.
Yes.
That way you know you've got it. You can
Absolutely.
take the time.
you
Parking
got a
is
ticket,
free.
they
There are
still have it.
500 spaces available at the Coca-Cola bottling factory.
Okay.
So parking shouldn't be an issue, but make sure you get there early. So because we start seating 10 minutes before the performance, and once they start, once Eli drops the hammer, that's it.
What's the drum?
You don't want to
That's
miss no second of this
this
play.
No.
No,
Get there, guys.
not a one, not a nail, not a moment.
There it is. P. Wilson.
Hey, thank y'all, man, for coming. I mean, wow. I mean, I really wish that I could watch this play.
You have a chance, I promise.
Oh yeah, we guarantee
We'll fly
that.
you out to New York.
Yeah.
See it on Broadway.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Y'all are, and I'm not just saying this. I mean, this is like true, and I'll explain myself. Y'all are a true manifestation of why this platform was created. And the reason why I say that is because, you know, we need to have dialogues like this where blacks and whites can come together and blend their perspectives and just be on a common ground, which hence is the gray area. I mean, that's where the name came from.
That's what's up.
So when you know you have, you know, your movement, you know, going on, I mean, I just hope that people, you know, like really take heed to that and recognize that and support you guys, man. And I mean, I really sincerely wish that I could come Friday, Saturday, or Sunday.
I do too. I really
know, right,
want
for
you. I
real.
do. I want you to see it so bad last night.
Yeah, I mean, but yeah, you know, thank y'all, man. You know, Robert, man, I salute you for, you know, what.
best.
Shout out to Robert.
Yeah, man.
Yay.
Shout out to Rob.
Yeah.
Shout out to Robert.
Rob B.
Bass.
Yeah,
Bird
I mean, what you're doing, Robert, man, is rare. I mean, seriously rare. I mean, you don't find too many people that want to, you know, not be normal and just do what you're doing. So, you know, I thank you, man, and you know, to y'all, man, you know, I salute y'all too.
Thank you. We salute
Thank
you.
you.
Yeah, thank y'all, man, for coming again. Thank y'all, man, for rocking the shirts.
Oh, you know, shout out to the great area for the wear. You know what I'm saying? It was
Appreciate
a
it.
little tight at first, but I made it work.
And
Yeah.
and you know, I'm a sneakerhead. I mean, the shoes are dope.
Yeah, she's a
Those shoes
sneakerhead,
are
too.
dope.
Show him your shoes.
She's a
Now you gotta
sneakerhead.
show
Those
him.
shoes are dope, man. Dog,
Yeah,
man.
you gotta
listen,
show your shoes.
listen. You gotta take one off.
Put your shoe up.
Kick
You gotta
your
take
feet up.
one off. Your socks
they're
are clean.
both
I know your
different.
socks are clean.
Yeah.
You good.
Look at that shoe.
Man, look at those
that
dunks.
shoe.
Those are dunks,
It's
though.
right there. It's
Those are
right there.
dunks.
It's right there.
Man, look
Those
at
are
this
dunks,
shoe.
man. Here,
Look at her. Look at
these
her.
are
Show 'em
dunks.
out,
These are
Dana.
dope.
Those are SBs.
You see that? Look at these shoes.
These are dope.
Y'all are silly.
I see
You know what I'm
this.
saying? Just because it's woke don't mean it ain't lit. You know what I'm saying?
Man,
What size is that?
Look at that shoe.
these are
Is
dope.
that-
Where'd you get these
Is
from?
that a human shoe?
Look at her. Look. Like she didn't want to tell me. She's like,
Look, don't-
online.
I don't want to give. She
got a
don't want to give
secret
them no
So,
shout out. Yeah,
so in other words, those are one of ones. None before it, none to come.
yeah, for real.
Yeah, man. But shout out to the viewers. Please share this on
Yes,
your page.
Thank you,
y'all.
everybody.
Thank you for the questions. Thank
Yes,
you so much.
Yeah.
Yes.
And please come to the show.
Please.
Absolutely.
Shout out to the great area.
Thank you, man.
This
Thank
was
you.
the
Appreciate it.
best.
You go ahead, Ray.
Yes.
Yes. I mean, I always get the last word, but everybody always says all the most important words, and I just appreciate y'all for that. So there's nothing more for me to say, but thank y'all for coming. It's always fun getting in front of people and hearing their perspectives and understanding and dude, you know, you're 24, but I mean,
Talk
the
about
way
me.
you're
He
thinking right
tired.
now, man. I mean, you definitely represent the millennials out there, man. Trying to retire at 24.
man.
I ain't heard that
That's
at once
new.
at all.
That's new.
But I want to thank y'all for coming because what y'all are doing is very important for the community. And if people don't understand Black Lives Matter, then maybe this is your opportunity to go see what
Absolutely.
it's all about.
Let me holler at
You know, this is that time. You say,
From
I don't
their
understand.
perspective.
I can't get it. It just doesn't make sense. Well, here's your chance. Go out Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. Go, what is it, indyfringe.org?
Yes.
Fringe.org.
Indyfringe.org. Go
While
buy
you
the
on
tickets.
Facebook right now, Indie Fringe
It's a
2017 in
great
the search
date
bar.
night. It's only
Go
an
get 'em.
hour. Yeah.
Go get them. Now is the time to do that.
Yes, sir.
You know, this is vital for what we're doing. And shout out to the viewers, always
Yeah,
rocking with
always.
us, sharing our
Viewers,
live
yes,
feeds,
thank y'all.
tuning in, loving on us. You know, we can't do this without you guys. And every single time you guys pull through for us, sharing these feeds, and we can't reach people unless you guys do that. So we thank you for that. And we will talk to you guys soon, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Peace.
Deuces.
Welcome to the Gray Area. The Gray Area Media. We've obligated ourselves to be the voice for all communities, speaking on topics that include community, religion, education, politics, technology, sports, health, and wellness. The Gray Area Media is a platform created by longtime friends for the sole purpose of providing our communities with the ability to voice current, past, and modern day issues. The Gray Area and its naming significance solely speaks to the area in which people shy away from speaking because of media-based constraints or contractual-based obligations. Well, I'm here to tell you, we don't do that here. So please, stay tuned in. We're going to go live in a few minutes. Don't forget, please add us as a friend on Facebook so that you can follow our live feed. And not only that, please add us on Twitter and Instagram at The Gray Area Media. Please visit our website at www.thegrayareamedialive.com. Thank you.